This will define everything for the Yankees as following a series win against the Baltimore Orioles this past weekend, they have the opportunity to do the unthinkable and capture the gold from an AL East rival. Put your what if hats on and take a seat because it's another edition of Yankees Digest. What's going on, guys? Alex Brooks back here on Yankees Digest, giving you guys that daily dose of Yankees content every day of the week as we get you ready for the MLB playoffs. But we do still have the regular season, and we do have an interesting scenario for the Yankees moving forward. But before we get right into this video and giving you all that juicy content, if you guys are not a part of the 29% who are subscribed to these videos, let's subscribe, let's comment down below to join in on this conversation. We are on the road to 9,000 subscribers, and we are going to bring you so much content moving forward into this postseason. Me and Chris are definitely thinking of ideas to get everyone involved here on the channel. So subscribe, comment down below, and turn on the bell for notifications so you're always notified for these videos. But getting right into this video is talking about the New York Yankees and what they have been able to do as of late here in the month of September. They took 2 out of 3 against the Baltimore Orioles, and they looked really good. They really looked like they have clicked it together. They definitely know that they are in sync. They know how to approach every single team. They know that their starting pitching is doing well. They know they have depth at starting pitching. They know that their bullpen, if it has some rest, they are able to go out there and dominate. And then when you have the MVP, Aaron Judge, and what he has been able to do this season, having his best statistical season from a stats comparison, and then also having the contributions of Ben Rice with the grand slam, Jazz Chisholm with a 30-30 season, Jose Caballero being a really nice option in the infield, Anthony Volpe getting it going, and all of these guys just really clicking together as a team. They are one of the most dangerous teams going into these playoffs, and it's definitely going to be interesting moving into these last 6 games because there is not just the wild card. The Yankees are at the top of the wild card standings right now, but there is something very interesting to look for, and I'm going to give it to you right here on this episode. But looking at the standings, or not the standings, the schedule for the New York Yankees moving into these last 6 games, the White Sox for 3 games, and then the Orioles for 3 games. The thing is, the Yankees are at home for all 6 games. So the schedule kind of worked out in the Yankees' favor here, having the White Sox and the Baltimore Orioles teams that you should win against. And this is going to be very interesting because the Yankees are playing for more than just the playoffs. They are playing for the division. And looking at these division standings, definitely did not expect this at the start of September. Did not expect the Yankees to be within striking distance of the Toronto Blue Jays after what seemed like months and months of disappointment and months of Toronto just always winning, even when the Yankees won, not being able to get an advantage in the month of August, in the month of July, and the Yankees were kind of just, treading water at that point. But now when it comes down to September, Toronto has not looked the same. They did clinch a playoff berth, but they have not looked the same and not looked as world beaters as they did in the middle of the season, and the Yankees can capitalize. We saw that schedule, White Sox and Orioles, and there's some scenarios that the Yankees can be in favor of to go and steal that division crown from the Toronto Blue Jays. And looking at these scenarios right here, this is going to be very interesting moving into these 6 games. So when looking at the first scenario, the Yankees go undefeated. They go 6-0 against the White Sox and the Orioles. They sweep both of the series. That puts the most pressure on the Toronto Blue Jays. The Toronto goes 3-3 or worse in the last 6 games. the Yankees steal the division from the Toronto Blue Jays and Toronto has to play in the wild card series. That could be huge. That could turn the American League, that could turn the playoffs on its head, upside down. So the Yankees, if they go 6-0, Toronto would have to win a minimum of 4 games if they were going to win the division. So the Yankees would need Toronto to go 3-3 or worse in their last 6 games against the Boston Red Sox and the Tampa Bay Rays. Both teams, Red Sox are playing for their playoff lives right now. The Tampa Bay Rays always love to play spoiler, and they are a very pesky team, so it's definitely possible for those teams to really affect the Toronto Blue Jays. And then the next scenario, this is where the Yankees, I think, is the most realistic with what the Yankees can control. The Yankees would go 5-1. They'd probably drop 1 game against the Baltimore Orioles or the Chicago White Sox. We know the Orioles like to play spoiler. We know that the White Sox, they're trying to play for pride and they're trying to play for, just something to look forward to into next season, into 2026. So could drop a game against the Chicago White Sox and the Baltimore Orioles. And if that ends up happening and the Yankees go 5-1 in their last 6 games, Toronto would have to lose both series against Boston and Tampa Bay. A big ask, but definitely think it's possible for the Boston Red Sox. If the Boston Red Sox end up sweeping, then you only need the Tampa Bay Rays to win 1 game against the Toronto Blue Jays. So Toronto would have to go 2-4 in their last 6 games. And then when we go down to the last 2 scenarios, this is where it's a long shot. The Yankees would go 4-2. Toronto would have to go 1-5 in their last 6 at home against division opponents. And then the Yankees go 3-3 and Toronto goes 0-6. That is a very, very long shot, and that is something where the Yankees are only going to win 3 games against the White Sox and the Orioles. They do not deserve to win the division. So a lot of pressure is on the Toronto Blue Jays. There's always pressure on the New York Yankees, and I definitely think that they're going to be able to fall into that 6-0, 5-1 range. Definitely think that there's a possibility that the Yankees are going to run the table here and win 6 straight and put so much pressure on the Blue Jays to try to steal that division crown, because we know with Boston, they are playing for their playoff lives. And a little bit more on what Boston has to play for. This is from Estevo Maximo at Pinstripe Alley. He said, for Boston, any and every win is immensely valuable, fighting tooth and nail for one of those 3 wildcard spots. At the moment, they sit just a game ahead of Cleveland and Houston, who with strong finales could both conceivably leapfrog the Red Sox and keep them on the outside looking in come October. And that's definitely something that the Yankees need to keep in mind. And looking right here, you're telling me there's a chance that the Yankees can end up stealing this division away from the Toronto Blue Jays after what seemed like a roller coaster of a season, and really a season where Yankees were treading water. They didn't have the bats going for Anthony Volpe. They lost their ace in Gerrit Cole, and they had to deal with a lot of injuries, a lot of moving parts. But you're telling me that there's a chance that the Yankees can steal the division from the Toronto Blue Jays with 6 games to go? I mean, buckle up, guys. Get ready for these last 6 games, because this could define the whole season. This could define the American League playoffs, and this could really work wonders for the Yankees to move in and try to get back to the World Series. And just looking at the wild card standings, when we're just looking at what is going on as of this moment, the Yankees are 4 games up on the first wild card spot against ahead of Boston. Excuse me. The Boston Red Sox are a game up on the Cleveland Guardians and the Houston Astros, and then the Texas Rangers are the outside looking in, 5 games out uh, of that wild card series. So right now, Houston is on the outside looking in against Cleveland and Boston and New York. So all of these teams are really vying for playoff positioning. Cleveland's actually trying to get that division against Detroit. They were able to do so well against the Tigers. They're kind of in the same spot as the New York Yankees. So at this point, we could not only see the Yankees go and steal the division from the Toronto Blue Jays, we could see the Cleveland Guardians take the division from the Detroit Tigers, and we could see this wild card spot looking like Tigers, Blue Jays, Red Sox, Houston Astros, because the Mariners are now ahead in the division. So you could see the division winners be the Seattle Mariners, Cleveland Guardians, and New York Yankees. And I mean, when you're looking at that at the beginning of September, that is unthinkable. So a lot of different things are moving right now. A lot of things could happen in these last 6 games, and it's definitely going to be a ride, a roller coaster ride of a week, and we're going to get ready for everything here on Yankees Digest. But that's going to do it for another edition of Yankees Digest. Appreciate all the support you guys are giving us on this channel. Be ready for these next 6 games against the White Sox and the Orioles. Me and Chris are going to give you coverage on this channel every day of the week. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night, and let's go Yankees.